Hello guys, this is going to be one of the quick ones because Veteran is not here and I wanted to say a couple of things while basically being a little bit sick, but we'll get through it. Let's roll the intro and after that let's talk about the agentic OS and what agentic OS could be. So, let me start with trying to introduce what an operating system should be. So, when you are dealing with operating systems, we are trying to create a system that is going to handle the entirety of your or the application's communication with the system itself. So, you're basically creating a abstraction layer between your hardware, so your CPU, your memory, your devices, and so on, and the applications that you're using. So whatever the operating system is, you are going to have some applications. We are not in the 1950s, so the applications in themselves are going to be separated from the operating system, and usually we are going to have something that is going to be called user space, in which your application is going to run. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about all of this is the recent Microsoft's statement, or the Windows system, Windows department in the Microsoft chief statement, who said that more or less Microsoft is building a new agentic OS. And agentic OS is something that I think is basically a contradiction, because either it's agentic or it's OS, because OS itself needs to handle a couple of things, and agentic OS is trying to do those things by itself, and it is more or less an application. So let's quickly go through what operating system does. So processes. When you have processes on your operating system, you're going to have some need to schedule them, to give them access to the memory, to give them access to the external hardware, to give them access to the CPU, to run all the processes, to make sure that they're not talking to each other, so that all the processes are separate in the memory pages. You need to handle entry interrupts. So you need to make sure that everything that is happening in your operating system is done on time. And if something unusual happens, or if something happens that requires the operating system to handle it differently, that you can handle it. So the interrupts themselves. Also, everything else needs to work. So synchronization between processes, the outside devices need to be serviced. There should be a driver model, so your applications, your devices should be able to be supported by a special type of application called the driver. And this means that you are able to, from the operating system perspective, talk to the device. You need to be able to get this device controlled. You need to get the data from the device itself. So this is one of those things that you are required to do when you are trying to create an operating system. Now, about the devices, there is a lot of things that you need to do. You need to talk to the storage, you need to talk to the network, you need to talk to the input devices, to the output devices, you need to support monitors, you need to support different output devices like printers and so on. You need to support audio, you need to support audio in and out, you need to support possibly different file systems. You need to support different types of connections. So for example, you can support PCI Express, you can support USB, Thunderbolt, USB, whatever version it is, HDMI, and so on and so on and so on. So you basically need to support a lot of things that need to be done in the operating system. Also, you need to support jobs, you need to support signals, you need to support exceptions, you need to be able to support different types of memory, you need to be able to support some sort of security framework. So you need to be able to create some sort of a session management. You need to encode and deal with your devices and your users. So you need to give the user access to the devices that he needs to have access to. You need to be able to do the access to the files. You need to do the access to the file system. You need to limit all of those things. You need to be able to store the certificates. So you need to integrate something like TPM or some other way of storing keys. After that, you need to do a lot of things that are housekeeping, basically. So you need to be able to handle the applications themselves. You need to be able to display windows. You need to be able to communicate using whatever the interaction device is. So it could be a mouse, it could be a joystick, it could be a wheel, it could be a controller, it could be a regular keyboard. You need to be able to support multiple windows and multiple monitors. You need to be able to support some sort of a remote access. And then you need to have some sort of updates. You need to have some sort of rollback system and package system that is going to enable you to install everything new. Then you need to support the regular things like time sync, time of day service, maybe containers, maybe virtualization, maybe some sort of sandboxing, maybe some sort of application virtualization. So a lot of things need to be done. Is more or less an OS thing, so operating system thing, and this thing requires to be and needs to be done correctly, and it needs to work. Now, why am I trying to even go into so many details and just moving along, tagging all the things that operating system does? Because the operating system today has enough things on its mind when it comes to running the applications, so it doesn't need anything else to be involved in the operating system part. What Microsoft is doing right now, they're telling us, no, we are happy with what is happening right now in Windows 11. We are going to create another layer above it, and we are going to create something that is going to be a device for your entire life, or operating system for your entire life, because this is what agentic OS should be, and this is what agentic OS could be if it done correctly. My problem with all of this is trying to understand which part of functionality Microsoft thinks that they have implemented correctly, and also why do they think that we need some sort of agentic OS. From my perspective, I would like my OS to be an OS. I would like to be using my computer by having an OS and then having different parts of the application frameworks and different applications themselves installed on top of this OS so that it works. Right now, Windows 11 is not that stable. Windows 11 is not that well supported. It has a huge number of problems with the updates, and it breaks from time to time. Things are breaking for no reason at all, or for some reason, but the OS part is not working. Now, Microsoft is trying to introduce the agentic part. Let's talk about the agentic part. The idea is to have your OS, instead of serving between your applications and your hardware, to be communicating with you and the rest of the OS, whatever the OS is. So from the get-go, this is an application, basically. Because what the agentic means is that they're going to try to create some sort of a butler, or I'm using the word butler purposely, because from all the different names that we have given the AI systems, like Cortana, like Copilot, like ChatGPT, like Gemini, and so on, we are slowly losing the idea of what is actually happening. What is happening is that we are trying to create some sort of a Clippy. Clippy was the prototype of the personal butler experience that we were supposed to have 23 or 30 years ago. And the idea was that we are going to have some sort of an interaction device This probably going to be a cute bubble or a cute clipboard or cute something that is going to be talking to us and then translating this into something that can be used on the operating system and doing those things for you. The idea is to create automation for everything that you can do in your entire life. So the idea is to index all the files that you have, index all the data that you have in your computer, including the databases, the calendars, the phone books, everything else that you have on your PC. Then try to index all the knowledge that a computer can have about you, and this is a huge amount of knowledge. For example, when you're traveling, when you're waking up, what do you like to eat, what do you like to drink, and so on and so on and so on. And then have a separate layer that is going to interact with this knowledge about you and try to make educated guesses on what you want to do. And also, when you ask it to do something, to give you an the idea is help, but I strongly think that this is not going to happen, but to help you go through your life from day to day. Now, the problem is that the operating system is intended to be an operating system for the hardware that I have. Operating system is not intended to be operating system for me. I'm not buying an operating system to automate me or my life. If I want to do that, I would buy an application. And this is the biggest problem that we have. Right now, what Microsoft is trying to do, they're trying to move away from creating an operating system that is going to work on a PC. And then instead, they're trying to create an operating system as a way of you talking to the computer. I'm, as I said, pretty much against trying to involve both of those things at once. I think that operating system should be concentrating on running the computer itself, on running the hardware, on running all the different things, the services and everything else that I need for my computer to function. And then I need reliable and easy accessible framework of applications that are going to get used when I need to do something on my computer. I don't want my computer to be an application. I don't want something to handle the interface to me. I don't want to be abstracted like we have something called hardware abstraction layer on the operating system part. I strongly feel like I don't want to be abstracted as a layer in the operating system. I know that I'm using the user layer, but I dislike having the idea of me being abstracted from my applications, because now somebody is going to be middleman between me and all the rest of the applications. And if I don't give it enough access, it is going to do a lousy job of it. Now, the next thing that creates a difference here is the things that we have seen when we are dealing with Windows. Right now, when you want to do something, for example, you want to create a new appointment in your calendar. You need to open the calendar and you need to get the appointment in. While you are there, you can also check for different things that are happening in the calendar, and you're more or less used to it. Now, also you have some things that are regular tasks. For example, if you plug in a USB port, USB disk, you're going to get a small question box, or it's a model prompt basically, and it's going to ask you what you want to do with this particular device. If you say, I want to open this application, or I want to back it up, or whatever, it's going to do this every time. Microsoft is right now trying to show this as something that can be done only using AI, and then it wants to use not only the regular inputs, so strict inputs like a voice, keyboards, mouse, and so on, They also want to do something that is sometimes called behavioral input. So it thinks that instead of using the regular device that we are using right now, we should be using more of natural language, which is fine. But also you should be using your behavior. So if I sit in my computer in the morning, the computer should be opening the calendar automatically. I'm not sure if I'm happy with it. And this is the thing that I am bothered the most. And these are the things that may feel like you have an assistant that doesn't listen to you all the time. An assistant that does reorganization of your toolboxes or your drawers, or reorganizes your books while you're not there. So somebody who is trying to be helpful, but at the same time, he's not you. And the thing is that I don't want my operating system to turn into something like this. I don't want my operating system to anticipate what I want to do, because sometimes even I don't know what to do. And then most of the time, I'm using my operating system to open something that is going to help my ideas and help my creativity to do something. If I create an operating system that is going to be anticipating what I want to do, so it is going to overwhelm me with different tasks in the morning, because this is inevitable. The first thing that is going to happen is that it's going to try to shove down your throat the idea of how many appointments do you have, what do you need to do, your to-do list for today, and so on and so on. But I don't want that. In the morning, I'm mostly aware of what I need to do. Unless I specifically ask for my to-do list, I don't want to know what my to-do list. Maybe I have an idea in the morning. This is going to be a hard fight to battle, and this is going to be a huge problem to overcome. Now, the next thing is that as a huge application, the agentic idea is inevitably going to use the cloud. Right now, it is completely feasible to have a local LLM. It is completely feasible to use a local LLM, but the problem is that the local LLM is both slow and extremely power hungry. So using a local LLM is going to be either slow, or it is going to require a pretty hefty computer for no reason at all, because your computer is quite fine with what it's doing right now, unless you put a huge thing over the top of it, and this thing suddenly starts to create its own new set of tasks. The next thing is security. What happens with all my files? Right now, I have an idea what is happening on the file system level with all my files. I know that most of the applications can directly see my files, but they are more or less unable to go through all of them unless I specifically give them permission to. Now, the operating system requires me to keep track of everything that I'm doing, not because it is required, but it is because it's required for the agentic operating system to actually work. If the operating system does not know what I typed in, what are my files, what are my screenshots, what is my browser history, and so on, it cannot do its job correctly. So suddenly, for the reason of creating an operating system that is going to be agentic, suddenly I'm now compelled to give it the access to everything that I own, both in the software and file system idea domain, and also in the idea of ideas, because it is going to listen to me all the time. It is going to know what my ideas are. Right now, if you're using any LLM that has memory enabled, you're going to see that after a few weeks or a few months, your LLM is going to be able to answer your questions like, what should I do next? For example, if I have ChatGPT, ChatGPT is completely aware that I have this blog or this podcast. And when I ask it, what should I do next? It is trying to get me to create another set of ideas for the podcast. This is just a result of it's following me around and getting the snippets of my life or digital life in the LLM. I don't want to imagine how this is going to look like if the ChatGPT would be able to track everything that I input and output from my computer. Now, the next thing is speculation. I don't want my computer speculating for me, because speculation kills creativity. I don't want my computer to give me 5 different things that I can do right now with my computer. If I'm sitting in front of my computer, I want to do something. I don't want another version of TikTok that is going to give me another thing to scroll by, another thing to do, another thing to be creative on. Also, the biggest problem that I have is that, give or take a few ideas, this agentic OS is going to manage me, because we as humans are quite difficult to or are quite too easy to manipulate. If the LLM knows how to manipulate people, and either on purpose or by luck, usually LLMs do that because they have been trained on a huge corpus of people being manipulated all the time. My agentic OS is going to try to manage me, and is going to try to make me do some things. And I think that this is a behavioral problem. I don't want something that is going to be both my machine that I'm using every day and a thing that is going to try to change me because it thinks that I'm not good enough, or I'm not doing a peculiar thing in a way that it thinks it should be done. So let me know what you think. This will be a 20-minute rant from me about agentic OSs. But the thing is that I think that Microsoft has completely gone off the rails. And the idea of switching back to Linux as an everyday driver is slowly but surely going to be something that I'm going to probably be doing in the next few days. Because I think that Windows 11 is right now looking like the last version of Windows that I'm going to be using from day to day, simply because it is trying to be something that it shouldn't be. It's not an OS. It's trying to be a huge application, and it's trying to create a console out of my PC. And I have a PC instead of a console simply because I wanted to have a PC. I wanted to have a computer that is going to be separate from a single use. I don't want this use to be managing me. Okay, thank you for being with me, and see you next time. Please, please, please leave me comments, and let's talk about this thing. Thank you.